What's up, guys? My name is Devin Reno. I am an independent wrestler, personal trainer, and surgical assist. I am not an MD. I work for MD Plastic Surgery or the North Scottsdale Outpatient Surgery Center. Love my job. But today I'm going to be doing a Q&A. I always am concerned with like, well, what if nobody cares? Or what if nobody asks questions? And why do I care? Not like I care that you ask questions, but why do I care what other people think? I get in my head and I'm like, oh, they're probably like, oh, that guy's a loser. Why is he asking about questions? It's a story on in somebody's algorithm. Do you know how many you click past a day? Like, why am I so stressed out about that? So that's what I'm working on myself with self confidence and just putting myself out there. And this is something I've been wanting to do. So we have Jolt by Redcon. It is an energy drink. I haven't actually had this yet. Um, it's their cola flavor. It's very good. I'm a Redcon ambassador as well. Code Reno, save 20%. Damn, that's really good. Try this out. It's 200 megs of caffeine. It's more of like a nootropic based, not necessarily pre workout. So I figured it'd be perfect for this. And then I'm headed to coach some wrestling after this, so I need it. Anyways, let's get to the frickin' questions. Um, Up first, Sancho Martinez. What's up, brother? He asked, what is your current workout split and how does it compare to your personal favorite split? So, right now I'm working with a coach, Team Loud Performance, Coach Blake. He's awesome. And one of the things that we're focusing on is leg development as well as my arms. My arms are lagging greatly behind everything else. My legs are pretty good. My hamstrings needed work. They're finally coming in now that I'm getting leaner. My quads are a strong point, so that was good. But all that being said, my workout split is very customized. He has me on a very unique split, one that I haven't run before, but it's not bad. It's a 9 day split. I run it 2 days on, 1 day off, or 3 days on, 1 day off. He got not upset, but I don't like taking rest days. And he got on me about taking rest days because I don't believe in overtraining, but I do think you need to recover, if that makes sense. Like overtraining, I don't think you can go too intense. Some people, a small percentage can, not most. So he forces me to take 2 rest days a week in order to recover fully. So my split is quads, arms, back and calves, chest and light shoulder, hamstrings, arms, shoulders, legs, volume, and then light chest and back. So really, it's quads, hamstrings, legs, volume, 3 days out of the 9, 2 arm days, 1 shoulder day, and then 2 chest and back days, one together and each separate. So it's a very unique split, but I like it. I am focusing on what I need to focus on, and that's why I pay him to tell me what to do so I can execute. And I've been really enjoying it. I've seen a ton of progress, um, and we're finishing out a cut right now. We are going to be heading into a growth phase at the end of the month, so I'm really excited for that. I don't know if my split will change or not, but I'm just really excited to grow. I feel small and flat and just like a loser. So I'm excited to start getting big. Um, but my favorite split is probably a pull push legs. I know push pull leg. I know that's how like it's referred to, but to me, you shouldn't really like, you can do whatever you want, but you shouldn't do your pull and your legs back to back because it's a lot of tax, a lot of it's pretty taxing on your lower back. Like on my pull days, right? I might have RDLs or a rack pull or sometimes a deadlift, or even rows, like heavy rows. And then the next day, I don't want to do squat and RDL or deadlift, you know. So I like doing what when I ran a push pull leg adjacent split, which I just reordered it. I would do legs first, start off the week strong. I love training legs, push and then pull. I would say I would reset, but I never, or rest. I never did. And then I would do it again. So, and then right before I was with Coach Blake, I did legs, push, pull, arms, rest if I needed it, and then repeat. So I would have a separate arm day because, again, my arms are a weak point. Um, Now they're finally making progress, which is why I'm excited to head into a growth season because, like, okay, now they have better shape. What can I do size wise for my arms? So yeah, that's the split I'm running now, and it's also the my favorite split is just the legs push pull with an arm day. It's my favorite. Gabriel Gallo, coach, asked, "Why don't you go in the real sun instead of painting yourself orange?" Well, fair question. I actually have a thing for Oompa Loompas, and I think that if I paint myself orange, I'm manifesting that I'll meet one day. So, I'm really tired of learning life lessons. I just want love, and I need to take every chance I can to find that. I didn't know we were getting deep on this. All right, up next, Kyle, Ref Kyle, the man, Mr. Lumptastic on Instagram, asked, "What do you love slash prefer in referees that you work with?" Well, Kyle, first of all, you're a great ref. Second of all, the referee is so important. I know I'm like old school methodology here, but the referee is the third or fifth person, whether it be singles or tag, in the match. They are helping me tell the story that I want to tell. And people, every time I am pitched an idea and it involves cheating of some sort, my first question is, where's the ref? Because if we are, I'm just going to be upfront about all this. WWE Unreal's out. I'm sorry. If we are building a story and there's one aspect in it that is literally the credibility of the sport personified in a character, and we just treat that character like it doesn't matter, why does anything matter? Right? The referee is the personification of authority and a reminder to the crowd that this is a sport with rules. Rules help tell the story because rules give the crowd a box that they see everything in. And then when something happens outside the rules, it draws their attention to it. So, in my opinion, you need them, and you don't just need rules, you need the ref to enforce the rules to um, I guess, tell the story completely. So, what I like with refs is I like them to be hands on. I like, if I have a unique idea for um, the match and I go, okay, well, what do we do with the ref here? A lot of the times, if I trust the ref, I will go to them and I'll say, hey, here's my idea. How would you react to this? And what do you think makes the most sense from your perspective and where you can be and how you can either miss it or how you can catch it? And I love that because they give me a perspective that I don't know. I don't ref matches. I ref them in training. I learn all that I can about refing so I can be a better wrestler, but I don't ref. I've never refed on a live show. So they have a perspective that I can't relate to, but I can appreciate. So I go to them and I go, here's my idea. How do we make it make sense from your perspective? And a lot of times the good ones will give me that. So I love collaboration with referees and communication. Like I talk to the ref a decent amount. So I love refs that are like, this sounds so freaking crazy. I like refs that pay attention to the match. Um, I hate the, well, you should never notice a ref. Like, yes, I agree to a point, but as a wrestler, I I just want to make sure they're not getting run over, they're not tripping over people. They're like, and Kyle, you're very good at this. Scott Johnson's very good at this. Cody in Vegas is very good at this. Alex is good at this. Victor Quintez is good at this. All those are probably my top five refs. All of them are great at positioning themselves around the ring, while not being in the way and but being present and enforcing the rules. So, and all of those guys would never just go like, I don't care, just do whatever. They're like, well, what if we do this? And I go, great, I'll do that instead. I like that way better because again, they all have experienced respective perspectives. When will you start posting on YouTube again? From the Landon, the legendary Landon. Landon, I miss you. I'm not sure where you went, but it was always a blast having you at PCWAZ. So I'm glad you're still following along and paying attention. Thank you for all your support. Well, Landon, this is on YouTube. No, but honestly, I am committing to getting better at this. I look, I how do I say this? I'm a very emotional person, and I know that about myself. I'm self aware, and it's a weakness sometimes. It's also a strength. I'm not gonna just downplay my my emotions here. I have to be fully invested in something emotionally to give it my all, and that's where it's a weakness. I shouldn't have to be, right. It makes it easier, sure, but I need to be better about doing these things that maybe I'm not necessarily like fully emotionally into, but you do have to have a social media presence now in professional wrestling, especially as an independent. Because I heard Matt Cardona said it one time. If Drew McIntyre, who's a great example now because he's the champ, right? If he doesn't want to post on Twitter that day, or Instagram or whatever, WWE does it for him. They market for him. You know, AEW, I see clips every day about wrestlers. Oh, back in 2022, this happened, and just reminding you about their roster and that it's like a machine. Independent wrestlers don't have that. So I do have to make a point of getting myself out there because who am I to complain like, oh, I'm not where I want to be when I'm not putting myself in front of as many eyes as possible. So the YouTube content is coming back. Thank you for asking and thank you for your support. As of right, I'll just let you in on the plan. As of right now, I want to do a weekly vlog, kind of sequential, like week one, week two, and so on and so forth. Um, just about life and how it's going. And then I want to do like a video like this where it's different and unique and has a specific purpose. Probably at the end of the week, and then the vlog will be at the beginning of the week. So thank you, Landon, but I will be starting posting to YouTube again. Wrestling Ref Alex, I just talked about you. Miss you. What is content you want to make? Honestly, none. I'm kidding. No, I once I get like into it, like I'm having fun now. Like I do enjoy doing this kind of stuff. But I love like Sam Sulek is probably my favorite content creator, just because it's like real and real. I don't know the guy, right? He could be. I don't think he is, but he could be different in person or behind the camera. But to me, it's like, yeah, that's. I don't like this crazy thing to say. I don't like acting. I don't like doing trends. I don't like. Oh, this is popping right now, so I gotta hop on that. Oh, I have to stay relevant this way. I think, and this is going to sound arrogant, if I believe in something, I can make it relevant. I don't have to wait for somebody else to make it relevant. I will do that. And it's kind of like in wrestling, if I see like trends going on that I don't agree with, I'm like, yeah, okay, that's cool, but like trends die, man. Authenticity doesn't die. Genuine people are remembered or they have good reputations. And original art that's not afraid to be different and um, has like a backbone to it that sticks around and gets remembered, and that's what I want to deliver. So that's more so in wrestling, not content, but that's how I feel about content. I want to do what I want to do, which is I guess your question, but it's stuff like this. It's like question and answers because I love talking. I love interacting and explaining things that I'm passionate about. Right. I would love to make some gym content. That'd be cool. Next video actually, I'm going to work on getting a full workout, Sam Sulek style. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Um, I like making creative reels sometimes. It's not my favorite, but eventually I would love to be like a writer or a director and produce a movie. That's like on my bucket list. So that's something that I would like to mess with, like short films or like reels that tell stories or, stuff like that, I think would be really fun. So that I have a ton of ideas. It's really hard for me because I have so many that I have to like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna zero in and do this one and then move on because I get so excited. But yeah, I have a lot of ideas for this year um, in terms of like wrestling driven content, gym driven content, and more artistic style content. So I'm really, really excited. But that's kind of the holy trinity of content that I want to make. Like some artistic stuff where there's some creativity involved, character based, um, wrestling based content, obviously, and then more just like talking, like genuine, like Q&As and vlogs where I'm talking through my workout, or maybe travel vlogs, like stuff like that, where it's not really, I don't have to, this sounds weird, but I just live my life and record it because I feel like that's where the most genuine conversations happen. Like when me and class are on the road, there's so much gold there in conversations. Not that I think like people can learn a lot from us, but it's like I learn so much from class and I learn about myself just talking about things with him when you're tired and traveling and doing the things that you love. So yeah, that's kind of what I want to do with this and with Instagram and all that. Kayla Blanchard on Instagram. What is the best way to make it in the wrestling world young? Well, Kayla, I clicked your profile. It looks like you're really young. You're in high school or junior high. That's awesome. The biggest thing I can tell you right now is be patient because I was once in your shoes. I was emailing every school I could think of. It looks like you're familiar with Rocky Mountain Pro. So one, if you plan on staying in the Denver area, they're a great school. I'm up there once a month to work for them. I love working with them. I've never been to one of their training sessions, but I know the people there, and especially recently in the past year, they've really rebuilt that place. And Damon and Yaden and D'Lo and Preston have just led the charge in like this huge revamp of the culture there that I can't say enough about. They've really, really revitalized that place, and I wasn't. I was there for a little bit of the old guard, and it's in much better hands now. Not like booking wise or anything, but culture, like the leaders of the school there, they're in much better caring hands now. So they're a great place to learn now. I think at the stage in your life, you need to, if you can, join a sport. I recommend gymnastics or some sort of grappling like jujitsu or wrestling. Wrestling's phenomenal. Those three will translate mostly to wrestling, and not necessarily like learning moves and stuff, but developing the mindset that you need to be a wrestler because it is really, really tough and it is physically demanding. Um, so I would start with that. If you can't do that, then do yoga and like body weight calisthenic exercises. And then when you're a little bit older, like 14, 15, 16, start getting into weight training and start learning about that. I have Reno House of Dreamers on Instagram. You can follow that. I put up things all the time about training and what you can do. Um, and I think I have a video on like if you're a kid looking to get into wrestling school, what you can do. So go watch that because I was that kid every day almost I would search how to be a pro wrestler just to see if new articles showed up. I would listen to every podcast I could, every interview I could about starting in wrestling. I watched so many like just random side interviews and documentaries that had 1,000 views maybe, but I wanted to know everything I could so I could be prepared. And every time I reached out to a school, it was like, do your push-ups, do your yoga, do a sport. And I was like, oh, I want more. But that really is what it is. Gymnastics will help, but like tremendously with body control and developing those skills. And so if you can pair gymnastics and wrestling, if you can pair gymnastics and wrestling, that's the go-to, I think, in terms of body control and athleticism, as well as, and you have to be mentally tough to be a gymnast. I'm not saying that, but as well as the mental toughness from wrestling that it'll teach you, you're you're in a great spot for when you start wrestling school. And don't don't be afraid to like wrestling. Don't be afraid to tell people you want to wrestle. I got made fun of a lot, but when they realized I was serious, nobody made fun of me. It's funny how that works, huh? Like, if you cower, and I can only speak to a guy's perspective, girls obviously, or a boy's perspective. Girls have a different societal experience, but just own that. Like, if somebody asks you what you want to do, say, I'm going to be a wrestler. If they go, oh, ha ha ha, you always hear that you have to have a backup plan and all those things are great. Go to stay in school, be a backup plan. But like, don't be afraid to say that you want to be a wrestler. Don't be afraid to like wrestling, um, and just own it. Don't rub it in everyone's face and be like, I'm gonna do this. Don't be like annoying about it. But if somebody asks, like, yeah, no, I want to do this, because that confidence will translate for when you're in wrestling school. And it's like, no, I'm going to do this. I'm meant to do this. So whatever happens, it's just a bump in the road. It's not gonna make me quit. So yeah, that's what I would focus on if I were you. I hope that helps. But good luck in your journey. Stay in school, all of those things, and also have fun and just don't allow yourself to enjoy wrestling. Up next, it's funny how we were just talking about this. Jimmy House, brother. What's missing from a mindset perspective for the majority of indie wrestlers? Hmm. Well, I don't think a lot of indie wrestlers love wrestling, um, because wrestling isn't about just matches or it's not about moves, but I'm gonna moves are cool. I love moves. I was an X Division kid. Love all that shit. But I don't think wrestlers love wrestling, because a lot of people in the independents who claim passion, they don't do the hard things, they do the fun things. And to me, if you're in a relationship with someone and you like, we're going to make this work, this is my person, this is my wife, this is my husband, this is my partner, but I don't really want to do that. So I'm just not going to work on that. What? You don't love them then? you know? If I say I love wrestling, I love the bad parts about it as well as the good parts. I love wrestling enough to have more matches in a weekend than hours of sleep and still make it to work on Monday. Why do I have to make it to work on Monday? To fund wrestling, because wrestling's expensive. So I love wrestling enough to want to change my body and invest in a coach and say, hey, how do I get to the next level and be undeniable? I love wrestling enough to do 40 minutes of cardio a day when I hate doing cardio, and to train on a low carb day when I don't want to, or go to wrestling training when I've worked 40 hours already this week and it's Wednesday and I have to be there to learn more, right? like those are the scenarios where love is tested. It's easy to say, "Oh, I love wrestling when I'm in the ring." Yeah, man, like everyone does. That's why it's so great. That's what makes all the other shit worth it. So I think a lot of indie wrestlers get to the match or they train at the school that they're at for the 3 hours 2 times a week. And then when they leave that garage, they don't think about wrestling anymore. They're just like, yeah, I'm doing it. And then they don't even think about it until the next time they go in through those doors at the school. That's not loving wrestling. I, I don't know what else to say about that. And in terms of matches, it's like, oh, well, we're going to do this. And then if somebody, like, anytime somebody goes, well, I don't know if that makes sense because of this, I don't go, well, I want to do it because I love wrestling. And if I see, oh, whoa, okay, no, that doesn't make sense within the rules of wrestling or the world of wrestling. Like, how do I make that be more logical? Maybe it's not what I want, but what I want is to be good at wrestling. So if somebody can poke holes in my logic or my perspective, I don't like that because I feel like I'm doing wrestling a disservice. And so I'm willing to swallow my pride and go, okay, yeah, I know that is a hole. How do we figure that out? Like with the ref thing we were talking about earlier. Oh, it doesn't matter. No, it matters. Like that's what makes me love wrestling. The challenge of it. So ultimately, I think independent wrestlers, a lot of them don't love wrestling. They like it. Or they like being in front of the crowd, or they like being in the ring. They might even love being in the ring. I love being in the ring. But I also love everything else because I love wrestling as a whole. Business, I hate business. I can't, I, money is the root of all evil, right? I hate it. But so many decision makers in wrestling base what, how they make their decisions off how much money they make. Do I subscribe to that thought? No, but it doesn't matter because they do. And in order for me to create a legacy, I need to be at the top companies. So I need to figure out what they're looking for and what makes money and try to figure out how I can make money for them. That doesn't mean like it goes against the art perspective that I like, but wrestling isn't just art. Wrestling is a sport, wrestling is an art, and wrestling is a business all wrapped into one. I hate business, yet because I love wrestling, I'm willing to learn about it and see how I can um, contribute to the business side of it. So, yeah, to answer your question, I don't think a lot of independent wrestlers love wrestling like they think they do. I think they believe that they do. But when they really, really think about it, or if they're really faced with the challenges of it, they don't love it. Yeah. What are some of your favorite indies to wrestle for? Favorite city outside of AZ? Well, um, I this is such a cop out answer, but I everywhere that I work, I really, really enjoy. Um, Rocky Mountain Pro, we touched on earlier. The past year has been amazing for them. It's been amazing to be with them. I love that we've been able to um, witness and play a very small part in that culture change over there. They're doing great. Check out Rocky Mountain Pro on YouTube. Future Stars of Wrestling, phenomenal. Um, I've grown a ton as a performer and as a person going there and dealing with challenges and overcoming them. And, I feel like I've gained a little bit of respect in every locker room that I've been in and not in like a, oh, it's just like every locker room I go into, I want to be somebody who contributes. I want to be somebody who is there to help everyone. I want to help the show, and I think with that attitude that me and class have, as well as these promotions just being solid places to work, has created a really good cycle for us. Um, so Future Stars of Wrestling, Rocky Mountain Pro, Winner Circle Pro, which Johnny Espinoza, that's who asked this question, you are very familiar with. They're awesome. They're phenomenal Promoters, they have a great team there putting on the shows. They have a great locker room. PCW Ultra, when it was around, was great. Sheik is out over in, I think I can say it now because he posted about it. He's at MLW doing cool things. What else? Beyond, we were at on Beyond last year. They're amazing. Like they, the locker room there is just so, it's professional, but it's different, and I really liked it. They had so many different minds and perspectives on wrestling that I really enjoyed just seeing how different everyone was. And maybe it was because I was coming from the West Coast, but those East Coast locker rooms, man, there's a lot of talent over there, and I'm excited to make my way back. Um, NWA New Mexico, Duke City Championship Wrestling in Albuquerque, phenomenal. They have the best venue, I think, out of any independent wrestling promotion. Um, the El Rey Theater in downtown Albuquerque is a blast. They sell that shit out on a Thursday night with like 800 people. Um, so they're phenomenal. I really enjoy working there. Um, they've got a really special thing going. And then, of course, PCWAZ, right? Like, I'm biased. I believe we are one of the top independents, and we're not internet based. We're local, um, community based, and we have had two shows back to back with over 1,500 people yearly, right? Our anniversary show, over 1,500 people for an independent wrestling company with no names, homegrown talent, over 1,500 people yearly. And then our bi-monthly shows do about 400 to 600. That's amazing. And they're invested crowds. Their families, their kids, they're into it. We upped our production. I started putting together videos to push forward the stories, and they're into it. They know the stories now. They're connecting to the characters. Like, I truly don't think there's many better indies than Phoenix Championship Wrestling. And of course I'm biased, but I feel like we have a good reason to be confident. All right. Up next, how do you maintain a healthy culture in the many different backstages of the indies? Again, Johnny Espinoza. Johnny, did I say your name? Espinoza, yeah. Huh. How do you maintain a healthy culture? In my opinion, and this is solely my opinion, and it could change. I'm so willing to learn and change my mind. I'm allowed to change my mind, as I wish a lot of people did more often, actually. A healthy culture is a collaborative one. And wrestling is a lot of egos. Not necessarily a bad thing, because you kind of need an ego to be in this and be successful in it. But, huh. I think when the ego gets in the way of collaboration, that's where we have a problem. I think it's okay to say, I don't know if I like that because of XYZ. How about we do this? And I offer an alternative. And if that's not agreed upon, we have a healthy discussion on where to zig and zag and navigate the situation together. It's like a relationship, right? Like, I don't like that, but what's your perspective? Or tell me why you do that. Or what are you thinking here? And I'll tell you what I'm thinking. And then we can try to incorporate each of our ideas, right? That, I think, is the biggest factor in healthy locker room culture is collaboration. And not just between workers or promoters, but other matches, checking in on everyone. Hey, what's going on? Hey, what's up, guys? Wanting to have friendly competition. I want to have the best match on every single show I'm on, but I'm not willing to take away from others to do it. I take it as a challenge. Okay, you're going to give me 8 minutes in the second match and I can't do XYZ because that's in later matches, fine. I'll still have the best match. Not to be a prick, but just because these are my limitations, because I am here to better the show, I'm still going to try my hardest to have the best match. And it's not like I'm going to do everything so nobody else can, or I'm going to take steam away from the main event because I'm going to do all these moves. It's how can I tell the best story in the limitations I'm given? Because that's the challenge of a wrestler. If if you go on a show and you're like, I'll do whatever time I want, I'm going to do whatever I want, and I'm going to have the best match of the night. Well, sure, if you can do whatever you want, that's not a challenge. And if it's just going to hurt everyone else, that's that's not collaboration. You know what I mean? So I think collaboration on all levels is what maintains a healthy culture in any backstage environment. And it gets heated, man. It's live performance, it's show business on top of athleticism and sports aspects and competitiveness. It's emotional and fired up, and there's yelling, and there's this, and there's all this shit going on. You can't take it personally. You just move on. You know, I can't tell you how many meltdowns I've witnessed or had, and blah blah blah. And then it's just like, all right, man, like we just care about this a lot, and nothing gets held personal. We move on. We don't say mean things during the crash outs or anything, but it's like, okay, that happened. Like, we still put on a good show. Hell yeah. Because that's ultimately what matters is putting on a good show. So that way the people who spent their money feel like it was worth it. And they feel like it was more than worth it. I don't want people going, oh, I spent this much for this. No, I want you going away like, damn, I can't believe it was that. Like, we got that much out of that. That's my goal. Not just from a match standpoint, from a show standpoint. So, yeah, I think collaboration, and this is a big where I work. It's a big thing there, but for good reason. They have a phenomenal culture there, and I don't see why it doesn't translate over to wrestling or any business really. Collaboration, collaboration, collaboration. Favorite moment in wrestling so far? Damn. Jaden Monroe asked. My favorite moment in wrestling so far. I don't know if I have one. There's like the Dom street fight, the match with Young Money. There's been so many. My first match with Class, and then the Battle Royal debut. The match with Jimmy. You know what? All right, I'll tell you this. My favorite moment in wrestling so far is after the match with Jimmy House, because Joe Graves, who is one of the hardest people to impress, told me that I ruined wrestling for Jimmy because I did for him in his second match what nobody else could do in terms of how I structured it and how I performed for him and what I did for him. And he, in front of everyone at tape study, because I was asked how I felt about the match, and I felt really good about it. But sorry, I said there was a couple things that I would have liked to do different. I wasn't perfect. Like I won't get into specifics, but I did this. I could have done this a little better. I did this, and he was like, "You're missing the entire point." Like, and he told me that I was good, when I start, this is why this matters so much. When I started wrestling again, I did it as a, if this doesn't work, I'm going to give it one last try while I'm on this earth. And if it doesn't work, then I know um, I wasn't meant to be here, right? And ever since I stepped foot into the Arizona Pro Wrestling Training Center, there was Joe Graves, Hammerstone, Dom Vitale, and Gabriel Gallo in class. Um, those first four were the bullies, and then class was like the guy there. And I wanted so bad to gain their respect. And it took me years. But I can, like, that moment at tape study when Graves, like, in front of everyone told me that, it, like, felt like a you did it. Okay. Um, sorry. That last question really struck a chord. Um, so yeah, it meant a lot to me that day. Now I actually had to go to training, funny enough. So I stopped recording, and then I have one more question, but I wanted to make sure I got it answered. Um, CatDat94, who is, you're one of me and class's biggest supporters, so we really do appreciate you. Um, you asked, what is something I want to accomplish in wrestling this year? That is a great question, and it's something that I have to be careful with, right? Because last year I was dead set on getting signed. And I have no control over that. And I've talked about that, like, at length. But yeah, so my goal this year is just to wrestle for 5 new promotions, um, and put myself in a position where I'm getting seen by more people. So right now, my focus is more visibility. I like I want to travel to seminars where I can learn a lot and make connections. I want to travel to, like I said, new promotions, at least 5 of them, um, and break out of the Southwest. I think in like the least arrogant way I can say this, I think I've kind of done like the most I can do out here for where I'm at in my career, and I want to break out. I want to get out there. The East Coast, the Northwest, that's kind of where my eyes are set. I want to break out of this bubble, right? I tell the kids at the school this all the time. I tell them, why, like, where we train every day is just a garage in Mesa. And it's an awesome facility, but it's a garage in Mesa. I want to be known worldwide, right? So I'm treated with a lot of respect, and I have a lot of credibility there, and I'm one of the leaders, assistant trainer, all the things, right? I go to QT across the street, none of that means anything. And I say that in a way to, like, make sure they understand, one, ego is always checked. And so you can't allow yourself to believe your own hype, especially because if I'm really important in one area of my life, that doesn't necessarily transfer to everything. And I think people have a hard time separating that. But with that, in terms of like the few promotions that I work where I've gained credibility over the couple years, anytime I step into a new place, I'm the new person. I'm the newbie. I'm the one that has to prove themselves. And so many people don't understand that. Like, it doesn't matter what level. If you step into a new locker room, people most likely don't know who you are. So to walk in and be like, yeah, that's right, they brought me in, or blah blah blah, it's like kind of crazy. So I enjoy the challenge of stepping into a new locker room and building credibility and building relationships and developing them over time. I think that's one of the most beautiful parts about pro wrestling is the camaraderie that can happen and that can form. And so, yeah, that's ultimately a long-winded answer, which all of these have been, to your question. I want to wrestle for 5 new promotions. And there's a lot of other things that come with that in terms of like consequential goals, but I just need to be in front of more people and make more connections. And then I believe my talent and my ability to be coachable will take care of the rest, and the universe shall provide. So I have very, very big life changing plans um, that I think will put me in those positions, but well, just time will tell. So, thank you guys. I appreciate this. This was a lot of fun. Sorry that I got a little emotional. It's just this is truly, like, I hate the word passion because it's bastardized, but this is truly my passion. And so when I'm recognized for it from somebody who I truly admire and respect, and like, I'm like, for example, now I like, it's funny because I was talking about that and how much Graves saying that in front of everyone meant something to me, and how, putting me on that level was an honor. And then the day before, Wednesday, so I was recording on Thursday. The day before, I was literally in the ring with Graves, coaching side by side, and like helping out the Wednesday class, and like bouncing ideas off each other and helping and like being collaborative. And it's just like a beautiful thing that I started getting yelled at just like everyone else. That's just how it works. And like being told this sucked, that was the shits, that was this, that was this. Because it is a tough business. Like you have to go through that, in my opinion, and you need to be checked. And so, and I just took it all on the chin and was like, yes, sir, all right, I'll get better. And then actually applied it and get better. And now, 4 years after meeting him, I'm side by side coaching a class, and like, he respects my input and is telling me, like, what do you think? Or like asking me my opinion on things. Like, that's truly, there's nothing more rewarding than that for me in wrestling than when uh, a respected veteran or somebody who is at a higher level, the highest level even, um, comes to me and they're like, Dev, what do you think about this? And they're like asking me for my opinion, because that means I'm trusted and I'm reliable and I have good ideas. And I'm not saying like I'm awesome at anything, but I truly do try to learn the craft. And so I think I offer a unique perspective for people. And I try to understand them and not just, oh, how I would do it. Because how I would do it is different than what anyone else was. So I try to look through their lens and see where their mind's coming from, so I can, diagnose what they're trying to accomplish, and then figure out a way with them to do so in a creative and fulfilling way. And it's just, that's the one thing I love about pro wrestling is you it's a blank canvas, right? And I've kind of lost my point there, but pro wrestling's awesome, and I'm excited to I'm excited to see what this year has. So, thank you guys for watching. I love you. I appreciate you. Let me know if you like this. Hopefully, I can do more content like it. I'm planning on shooting a workout today. That'll be out next week. This will hopefully be out later on tonight. It is Friday, so I'm trying to get to it before the end of day. I'm headed to work right now for a training, and then after that, it's all editing. Well, it's cardio, and then it's editing and check-ins with clients and all that. So yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next video.